What's going on, boys and girls? It is the day after our second preseason defeat, this time to Villareal at home, 3-2. And I've got to be honest and say that I did not watch the first half because the game kicked off at 3 a.m. here in Australia time. So I did get up and watch the second half. So my comments on the game are not going to be too detailed because I didn't watch all of it. I have seen the highlights since. So I'm probably just going to kind of touch on a few performances that stood out to me for good and bad reasons, and then just have more of a general conversation around, I think, the style of play, which is really concerning me. So if I look at kind of the first half in terms of what I've seen from a highlight point of view and what I've heard online, it sounds like it was a typical Arsenal start. We kind of started with plenty of possession and kind of controlling the game relatively comfortably without doing anything particularly special. But then, Villarreal got their first kind of real sight on goal and managed to score. And next thing you know, we're 1-0 down and chasing an equalizer against a team that's just going to sit in and low block and counter attack, which is something that we just haven't been able to deal with for over a season now. So I guess that leads me on to the point around our style of play. I'm just hugely disappointed that we are not seeing anything different from last season. I just Last season I put down our style of play due to circumstance. There were a lot of injuries, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on in the background, and I made the assumption that we were playing this way just to kind of get through. But I never for a second thought that we would continue this kind of style of play moving into the new season. I just never saw us playing like this, and it's really disappointing to see it because I just don't think that's going to win us the Premier League. And most importantly, it's not fun to watch. It's not an enjoyable brand of football to watch. Um, so going back to player performance in terms of the second half, I thought Mosquera really impressed me. He looked really strong, fast, good on the ball, confident. I thought he put in a really good showing, and I love the fact that he played both right back and kind of right centre back. Um, Max Dowman, I mean, again, possibly the most impressive player on the pitch, which is ridiculous because he is 15. I repeat, 15. Um, on one hand, I'm incredibly proud and excited that we have such a talent in our team. But on the other hand, I'm a bit concerned by the fact that as a team that's supposedly going to challenge for the Premier League and the Champions League, the most impressive player in our preseason has been a 15-year-old. So I'm really torn on how to feel on that right now. Um, Martinelli, again, is given another opportunity to do his thing, doesn't do it. It's becoming a real concern for me now, and I think we're at the point of no return. There has to be something different now. I'm not saying that we get rid of him, but we have to see something different because Martinelli is constantly underperforming and not delivering, and it's just making the whole front part of our team just null and void. Everything goes through Saka, and Martinelli just he offers no threat, and it's just not good enough anymore. What else? Odegaard again. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I don't think Odegaard is doing enough. Yes, he presses well and he brings the high energy and the tempo, but he's our number 10. He's the creative player within that team. I want to be seeing goals. I want to be seeing assists. I want to be seeing killer passes, and I'm just not seeing enough of that. And we can't afford for him to have another season like he did last year. So his performances are really worrying me. Um, I think again, I've never been a tactical person, so I'm just going to try and say this as best I can. But I feel like our midfield is being cut through way too easily in this preseason. I feel like opposing teams are able to get from kind of defense through to attack just too easily. There doesn't seem to be enough combativeness there from Arsenal. That third goal where they just kind of one ball through and off he went. Defenders nowhere to be seen, midfield nowhere to be seen. I just think we're looking too open, and that's what's concerning as well. Is we're being described as this kind of defensively solid team with good structure and everyone knows their role at the back, but we're conceding goals. We are conceding goals. So like I'd be okay if we don't concede a goal and we win 1-0 and it gets you what you want. But we're conceding goals. And because we don't look like we can score goals going the other way, if we concede 1, 2 goals, all of a sudden we're in a position where the team has to score 2 and 3 goals. And I just don't think we look like a team at the moment who can score 2, 3 goals on a regular basis. I know we scored 2 goals yesterday, but you know, I just yeah, that is a worry to me that, we're playing this brand of football that's supposed to be all around being defensively tight and structured, yet we're still conceding goals. So, in other words, we're failing both ends of the pitch, which is really alarming. Um, I think where I'm struggling with all of this is I wanted to go into this season feeling like last season was a hiccup. We learned some valuable lessons and we were going to go again and be really ready for the fight. And the way I'm sitting here right now, I just don't see I don't see us winning the Premier League. I don't see it. In fact, if you ask me right now, who's better placed for that game at Old Trafford between Manchester United and Arsenal, from what I've seen of Manchester United, they're in a much better position than us. They're winning games, they're playing good football, they're scoring goals. Um, so yeah, that is hugely alarming to me that I'm sitting here going, man, you look in a better place than us, given what happened last year and where Manchester United are supposed to be. So I am really concerned, and I'm feeling really flat because I'm not feeling any confidence at the moment based on what I've seen to sit here and say we are going to have a good season. Now, do I think we're going to finish fifth or sixth or seventh? No. But right now, if you're asking me, hand on heart, where I think we lie in the mix here of this kind of supposed top four race, I think Liverpool and Man City are going to be battling it out for first place. And I'd probably put Chelsea higher than us right now in terms of, favourites to come in and around that third spot, which is just such a shame to say because it's not how you want to be feeling with the season a week or so away. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here going, surely Arteta will change things, but he's had 4 games now to change things. And I haven't seen anything different to what we were doing last season. So why would he go and change it now in the last preseason game? I think the Gyökeres performance was to be expected. He's obviously not match fit. He's only had a few training sessions, so I think he's still figuring out how the team plays. The team is still trying to figure out how to play to get the best out of him. So I'm not really reading too much into that. It annoys me that we didn't get him in earlier in preseason because we wouldn't be having this situation. The other thing that I kind of just want to say is when Gyökeres went off, who's playing number 9? Mikel Merino. And it just made me realize that if Gyökeres gets injured or he's not pulling in the goals, who do we have to lean on? We have Havertz and Marino to lean on. That's not where I want to be personally. Eze has to come through the door. Eze has to come through the door ASAP. Eze is a must. I won't back down on that. Eze is a must. He's a bare minimum, but he's a must. And I really do think based on the way Martinelli is performing, I got a sneaky suspicion that Madueke has been earmarked for that left wing. I think he's been bought in. Yes, back up to Saka, but let's face it, Saka plays 95% of the games. I think where Madueke is going to play the majority of his football this year will be on the left wing. And that is frustrating because I'm not convinced, and I would like to see Arsenal go big on a Rodrigo or a Leao. That's what I want. So anyway, we've had this conversation a few times now, so I won't bang on. Hugely disappointed, very concerned, not feeling too optimistic. Let's see what happens on Saturday. Let's see if Eze can get through the door within the next few days, and we go from there. So I'd love to get your thoughts. Leave some comments, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.